I remember one summer when I was first learning to cook, my grandmother told me it was impossible to make a tender and flaky pie crust with butter. She was from that generation of cooks who embraced shortening when it first came on the scene back in the 40s and 50s. She used it for everything from hand lotion to pastry dough, and she simply insisted that any good pie crust must contain a dollop of shortening. I've been proving her wrong over and over. With one simple kitchen staple, you can make an all-butter short crust pastry dough that can be used in both sweet and savory dishes. Today, I'll show you how. I have 2½ cups of flour here. To that, I'm adding 2 tablespoons of sugar and 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Just eyeball it. Mix that together lightly. Now I cut in 1 cup of cold butter. I like to use a pastry blender, but if you don't have one, you can use 2 knives instead. Work quickly. You don't want the butter to melt. When the mixture looks like coarse breadcrumbs, it's time to add the water. I'm mixing in 1/3 cup of ice water. It's important that the water is cold to keep the butter from melting. And here's that secret ingredient. To make your pastry flaky and tender, add 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar to the water. You could really use any vinegar that you have on hand. I just prefer apple cider. Continue to mix with the pastry blender until the dough starts to come together. Keep in mind, you might not need all the water. Use your hands to make sure the dough sticks together but isn't too moist. You want it to feel sort of light, soft, and cool to the touch. If the dough is sticky, mix in a little more flour. And if it doesn't hold together, just add another splash of water. Divide the dough in half and form each half into a flat disc. Wrap them in cling film and refrigerate for at least an hour. Giving the dough this time to rest in the refrigerator before rolling it out causes the gluten to relax, and when the gluten has settled, the dough is actually easier to roll out, it retains its shape better while baking, and is more tender and flaky. Definitely don't skip this step. After an hour, the dough is ready to roll. This recipe makes enough pastry for a double-layer pie crust, but today I'm making Swiss chard and potato galettes. You can find the recipes for both the galette and the pastry dough on Sahui's Shahui. I'll leave a link below. Happy cooking!